I'm so happy, happy-go-lucky me. I just go my way, living every day. I don't worry.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to another episode of the Hobbesy Horror Screamcast Bros, where I, Hobbesy, and my good buddy over yonder, RJ, will traipse through the horror film du jour. This week being 2001, right? 2001.
Yeah, I believe so. 2001.
2001's Jeepers Creepers. That's right. Before we get into that, we'll just go ahead and we'll just do our little opening bits here. We were talking a little bit beforehand and determined it's hard to keep up with current events when things aren't. We record these way in advance at this point. So keeping with current events is very difficult. So we'll see what comes up on a weekly basis. This week, I don't think we have anything to report. How you doing today, RJ?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Excellent. Good grand even. I too am doing all right. Today we are cramming in watching our movie, recording this episode, and then if we're not too wiped afterwards, if you're up for it, if I'm up for it, I don't even know. We'll record some game and chat stuff on DVD with the anniversary because the game mode is pretty awesome. But that'll all be over by the time any of you hear this, so just disregard. I'll go ahead and I will say right off the top that I will in no way endorse the slug thing that created. It was a pretty good movie. It was a pretty good movie. It was a pretty weird movie. It was a pretty good movie. And I'll openly express my disgust here now, and I guess in the first few lines of production, just in the way that I refer to him as a slug thing and a boy diddler. And that's all we really need to know about him. So fuck that guy. Hey, RJ, you got anything?
I will just say like when we were picking movies, because we were doing 6 movies each, like I had no clue about the director, writer of this movie. I did not know of his past. And again, like you said, will not endorse it, will not say anything good about the man. But yeah, we'll just, kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because you definitely brought that to my attention, and I'm like, ew.
If-
Now I feel kind of bad for putting the movie on the list.
No. I mean, it's a decent movie, and it falls in the genre, and it's kind of it's almost like a cult favorite of sorts at this point.
Yeah,
in
it
its
slowly
lifespan.
became like a cult kind of. I kind of had like a cult following, especially I think more when the second one came out. I think is when it really started to like take off a bit, with like a cult following and all that, which again, sensing a theme here with most of the movies we have done so far.
All right, don't worry. We'll hit the wall with some things where they were just bad, where they're just awful and nobody likes them. And I put them on the list because I hate myself and I want everyone to suffer with me. Yeah, no, it kind of I feel bad being the bearer of that news in a way, because it always sucks.
I mean, but it is
when,
it's facts.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
facts,
It's
and it is because even when we're kind of reading up on things to talk about before we get into the movie and all that, there was quite a few things like, yeah, so there was controversy around this movie because of the person directing it and writing the movie had a past.
had a pass.
And it's just, oh yeah, I can see why.
Did not serve an adequate amount of time for his past, but Hollywood, what do you expect? I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Sad times. But yeah, no, it always sucks to have like, man, I really love this thing, but oh, the person who made this thing is a horrible person. Can I still enjoy this thing? And yes, I can still enjoy things. I still enjoyed this film. But yeah, no, it's yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna call him a slug thing. And that's about it. Other than that, I mean, we can get into production because we were talking about the cultness of it, but at the same time, the release would say almost differently, but I feel like it sank into obscurity pretty quickly after the pop-up release. But still, good movie. Like I said, there are things in it that I just we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll just hop into the quick production notes, a little bit, things that we do every week. To the meat of the matter, then we go into it. It's 2001's Jeepers Creepers. It had its theatrical release in the US and Canada on August 10th of 2001. And was made on a mere $10 million after various budget cuts hit during production. Went on to rake over 59 million globally between its initial releases and then like 100,000 and change that it got on a 2018 Colombian release, I believe it was.
Which only did like it was like a couple 100,000.
I think it was only like
something like that. So it didn't.
147,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't anything, too big or anything like that.
yeah, there wasn't big, but still, I mean, for being knocked out at $10 million and whatnot, you've still brought in a
Yeah.
good amount.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because even so when the film brought in at the time it was the broke Labor Day weekend box office with a little over 15 million. It was 15.8 to be exact in 4 days of its release, and um, the and then but it oh, okay, and then yeah, it held that record until actually the second one came out just a couple years later in 2003. The second one came out in 2003. Wow.
Yeah, it was a quick
Felt like
turnaround.
there was more, yeah, it felt like there was more time in between the first and second one. But yeah, I mean, that is pretty impressive, especially with, the low budget, the first, weekend you already made your budget back and then some.
For sure. Like, it did really well, and the fact that it held the record until its sequel is pretty solid too. But I guess they did have a quick turnaround. The film is written and directed by aforementioned Slug Thing Boy Diddler, produced by J. Todd Harris, Barry Opper, and Tom Luce, with cinematography by Don E. Font. We had to put the name in, Fauntleroy,
Yes.
Don E.
We had
Fauntleroy.
had a whole conversation looking up the production, like, yeah, we got to have this man's name in this episode just because what a name.
Right? And I practiced it so many times and I still fucked up there and stumbled. It just comes out of the blue. It hits you. There's too many capital letters in it. I don't understand. Yes. Cinematography by Don E. Fauntleroy, and music by Bennett Salve.
I believe so.
With the costume created by Brian Penicus from Makeup and Monsters, while its wings were created by Charles Garcia, and they were digitally rendered in by Buddy Geen, Scott Ramsey, and Bob Morgenroth. The film stars Gina Phillips, Justin Long, Jonathan Breck, and Eileen Brennan. What did we determine was Eileen Brennan?
She was the crazy cat lady,
I was going to say,
believe.
she was the unnamed cat lady, and she still got
Yeah,
put up in the starring
literally,
section.
yeah, like 10 to 15 minutes of movie. I don't even think she got 15 minutes and somehow becomes a star of the movie.
I mean, right? I'll
I
accept it.
mean, if
I
I could
mean,
get a role like that and be a star of the movie, and I'm just assuming stars of movies get paid pretty well, especially one that made over $59 million.
right?
You'd sign me up.
You would have thought that, what was her name? Jezza. We'll call her
Oh,
Jazz.
yeah, they
Psychic
just called her
lady.
Jazz, the psychic lady. Yeah, you would
You
think
would
she
think
would be
she
the
would have
star,
gotten, yeah, you think she
but
would have
yeah,
gotten the credit.
no.
Interesting
I
choice.
mean, she had way longer of. She had like the last 30 minutes plus it's a whole telephone conversation. But no,
Right.
the 10-minute crazy cat lady
You know what?
star of the show.
I'm gonna give it to the cat lady. She played the fuck out of that role. Good
I
on
mean,
her.
she did give no fucks.
Yeah, it was solid. It was solid. Um, no,
And,
beyond
just a
that.
few things that I found that was interesting about this movie.
Ow.
So
Sorry.
Justin Long, who is very, very beloved by the hosts of this show, was this was actually his first leading role in a feature film, which I found kind of surprising because I'm like Justin Long's always been a big name. I did not know this was like his first like big lead role. He was only 22 at the time of production of this movie. And then this one I thought was interesting because we do live in Florida. Filming was shot at locations near Ocala and in the nearby town of, we'd say it's Dunellen, right?
Yeah,
How you
Dunlin.
pronounce it? Yeah, Dunellen, Florida. And then when the budget cuts hit production, they were only scheduled 35 days to shoot the movie, but they actually managed to shoot it in only 24. So that's, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty impressive, even though it's not like, major, like the scenery doesn't change a lot. But I thought that was pretty impressive. You can get a movie done in a little over 3 weeks.
Right.
And apparently there was some issues while shooting a lot of the highway scenes with, being in Florida, iguanas in the road.
We do have a
So,
problem with
and
iguanas in
then
certain parts. Yes.
And then the last one here, this movie was originally titled "Here Comes the Boogeyman," and as act the so when the ending credits roll, that is actually the song that's playing, and I guess they were later on inspired by the other, was it 1938 Jeepers Creepers song,
Yeah.
and they decided to change the movie to that instead of "Here Comes the Boogeyman." So apparently, there's just inspiration in old timey songs
Yeah, it's classic
for.
jams, man.
I mean, when you're playing a sonogram for a, not a sonogram, was what are those things called? The had the record and the little big horn
Like a
thing. I forget what they're
gramophone.
called. Yeah, but when you gotta use one of those for a song, yeah, it's old timey.
Right. I love music like that. It's great. I've got a whole playlist called Main Street 420, which is just like old-timey jazzy songs about getting high, which is really great.
I mean,
Just
that's a
fantastic.
good time already.
Great playlist. Highly recommend. Um yeah, a whole lot went into this film. There's a bit of backstory with the film where like uh, a lot of sources believe that it was based on a true crime case that took place in Michigan. That's a
Oh,
fun
I did
one.
not know
Yeah,
that.
so there's kind of like a semi based on a true story. However, loosely we use that phrase in the modern age since like
Hmm.
The Exorcist. um, yeah, but that's a fun fact. It took place in Michigan of all places. It turned around and set here in
Uh,
Florida. Yeah, we are.
uh,
We're not gonna go into
uh,
that. Shut up, you filthy fucking.
yeah, it's best not to.
We're not a sports
I could
cast.
go on. I could go on for a while about the state of Michigan. So yeah, we'll just leave that for another time.
Look, if I can get you and Unclear on a microphone talking about sports, we'll slap a label on it. We'll make it part of the fucking production house. We'll expand and then cover our bases, as it were. No pun intended. Um, but yeah, just some fun stuff there. There are some other quotes by Slugman that I'm not going to read because I don't care what he said, and I don't. Doesn't matter the value of his message. It holds no value. Um, but beyond that, I don't really got too much else going on. There's a little bit of backstory and whatnot to it, like I said. But yeah, we can go ahead and jump in if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are,
Uh,
sir.
I don't really have. Did I have anything else? I don't think I had anything else other than just talking about Bennett Salve and his production of everything. Uh, but yeah, no, killer soundtrack. I listened to a few things on it. It's fun. It's all well produced. I don't know. I should be a music guy and have more to say on music, but I don't. Uh, yeah, we can go move on, jump right into it. In which we open up on a scene of Trish and Darius driving back home during the spring
Are
break.
we not doing the trailer?
Oh, I skipped the trailer. Holy shit. Cut all this out. Oh, Jiminy Jesus.
You just saw the finish line and just went.
Ran for it. Fucking sprinted. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And with that, we can go ahead and hop into the trailer. If you're ready, I can go pull it up here. I definitely did not skip over the trailer at all. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get it started then.
I haven't seen a car in 50 miles.
You know what I just thought.
Trailer almost begins where the film
Believe that
begins.
story?
That they did go looking for her head.
They only found the car.
They never found her head.
Oh, I have seen this trailer before. I didn't think I've seen it.
I don't know if I have. I feel like I would have had to
What the
have.
hell is that? You dumped something down
You
that
could-
pipe.
Rafting
Hell,
sheep.
even like the trailer is low budget though.
Your idea of a little adventure.
I'm just gonna look.
I mean,
You know the part in scary movies where somebody
I don't know. It gives kind of an intense, kind of like old school fucking horror movie trailer kind of vibe.
No, that's kind of what I mean by low budget.
That's fair. That's fair.
23 days. It gets to eat.
Eat.
It really just spoils the exposition later on with that, eh?
He must have 5, maybe 600 bodies down there.
That shitty car got them in so many more problems than what it should have.
Look, man, that car took a fucking beating and kept rolling. Like, oh no, not disturbed. I don't think we can play. I'm just gonna talk over this part because I don't know if we can actually play.
You think he's dead?
They never are.
That was a weird piece of awareness just in the middle of the film. That kind of threw me off when she said that. What's eating you?
Alright.
That was an alright trailer.
Yeah, like I said, you could definitely see like it was low budget, but not saying bad thing, but you could kind of
Yeah,
tell.
no, definitely not a
especially like the
bad
beginning
thing.
of it, like just a little like transitions and all that. But
I in the middle of it they just start blaring Disturbed. I can't even talk about Disturbed right now because that's going to send me on a whole political thing, and I'm this is not the place for it. Okay, but yeah, interesting trailer. Like you said, it kind of has the low budget feel to it, but it's that gives away so much more that I feel like could have been left off the table and for the film itself. I
they
feel
weren't going for surprises; they were just going for a good time.
I guess so. I feel like maybe it wouldn't have sold as well without knowing right off the rip that, oh hey, this is a fucking like creature feature. It's a monster movie, like not just some deranged a-hole on the road or whatever slasher type guy. But I feel like they could have kept the monster thing under wraps and surprised us, just threw it on the table in the middle of the film, instead of giving it away in the trailer there, and then given the exposition from Jez kind of right there in the trailer too. Like, I feel like they were just trying to give it away.
Whatever the significance of like, the 23 years and 23
23,
days
yeah.
and all that stuff.
Like I said, man, Jim Carrey had a whole movie about 23, so it's got to be special, right?
Excellent movie, by the way.
Fantastic. That might fit on a list, eh? I'll probably fit that on
Yeah,
a list.
it could definitely be on a list.
It's Thriller, be all right. Um, lists. Speaking of lists, I think this will come out far enough down the line that we can say we've already started working on the list for season 2. You already knew that.
I mean, I think we finished the list for season 2.
I mean, it's a preliminary list is finished for season 2.
Yeah, as of right now,
Yeah,
finished.
there
May
might be
have
some
some revisions,
changes that
may
come down
not.
the line. Got some fun ones on there. I'm kind of excited to just get to season 2 at this point, honestly. Fuck yeah, I get to watch this. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna watch it on my own time. What? No, I've got to do it for content. Uh, but yes, it was a good trailer. It gave a lot away in exposition form, and I feel like it could have kept off the table until the film. But I mean, I guess I know you know what you're getting, especially getting Screams 2001 as Disturbed kicks in, and every trailer had to have like new metal or whatever in it.
Well, metal and horror do go kind of hand in hand nowadays, or actually for a little while now.
I'd probably put a couple $100 down that says there's a horror movie with Limp Bizkit in the trailer, and
Yeah, I
yeah,
can see it.
yeah, or like Linkin Park, or like Saliva, even, or it's just kind of that era. But yeah, no, I guess we can go ahead and hop into the film now. Actually, on time. Don't worry, you missed something because I cut it out previously. But we start the film on an open country road. The synopsis says country, but I don't really believe Florida has quote unquote
I mean, yeah, I
country.
was gonna
Just
say it's fucking Florida. Oh, another
long
little fun
stretches of
fact.
flat land.
Another little fun fact that, reading up on this, apparently what were we calling him? Slug
Slug thing boy
director.
diddler.
Yeah, that guy. Apparently he actually convinced the neighbors of this stretch of road to move their mailboxes temporarily so the scenes would look more rural than
I
what they really are.
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah.
I gotta wonder how much people were compensated for that.
I'm sure they were fairly compensated.
I would hope so.
I don't know. It's Hollywood at the same time, and
Like
again,
you move,
Slugboy Diddler doesn't sound like he would be fairly compensating
I
people
maybe a hand job
for
in a back alley or something.
inconveniences.
I don't know. Yeah, forget. Only if you're 8. But whew, whew. Yeah, no, I can't. I don't know. I guess I don't have a mailbox directly in front of my house these days. I've got like the community mailbox or whatever that's just like parked on the street. So I guess that wouldn't be an issue. But I feel like if I lived on a long stretch of, I guess, yeah, country road, and you were asking to move my mailbox, like, bro, my neighbor is like 100 feet down the street from me. I don't move my mailbox.
I mean, because a lot of houses on like country roads like that, like their driveway is like a half a mile long.
Right. Like it's still like big plots of land because you can see where they're driving. I mean, it is a lot of
Yeah, exactly.
open stretches and whatnot. But yeah, yeah.
I think it's more just for like when they're on one end of the road where you can't really see like off the road, but so they're not, you know, so you're not seeing mailboxes on the side when they're doing like those long stretch shots of like the highway.
Hmm. Yeah,
So I would
understandable.
imagine they weren't like the whole 24 days of shooting this movie. They're not moving their mailboxes for the 24 days.
Yeah, no,
It was
I
probably for like maybe day 3-4 days tops, if that.
Right. I was gonna say I can't imagine much of the shooting took place in that
Yeah,
particular area.
exactly. Because and that would probably be like getting a way of getting around not compensating the people because they're like, hey, it's only gonna be for like a day.
Right. Hey, it's a good day, 2 days, whatever. Don't worry, the mail carrier will just drop it at your door. It'll be fine. But yeah, so they're on their way home during spring break. Trish and Derry, played by Gina Phillips and Justin Long. And as they're driving down the road home, there's a whole apparently there's a whole discussion that happened that I just didn't catch. And I think
Oh,
it might
about
have
it
been
was
caught up in just like the sibling bit that gets played so hard here.
yeah, it was basically just like they were discussing why Trish wanted to take the long way home instead of being home quicker, and you know that's when he brings up like the boyfriend, and
I don't want to
she
explain
goes, "Oh,
mom.
none of your business," and all that you know teenage college stuff.
Right. Like right off the rip, they play into the sibling crap so
Oh
hard.
yeah, with
So
the
hard.
highway games and
The road trip games, yeah.
sibling games, and the whole with the license plate gay fever and sexy forever. It's not a G, that's a
That's
six.
a
Sexy
6.
forever.
I'm sticking with gay fever. I'd slap that on the back of my car. During this scene, we get our. Yeah, I guess at this time it would be like the trope of driving through the country town and having nothing but like evangelism on the radio and good stuff like that. So we dig into
Yeah.
the trope there. And it just gets real weird real fast. As completely unprompted, and you mentioned it, you kind of see it happening, but you don't realize
Yeah,
it's happening till it's
because
already on you.
I actually thought, because I actually wrote it down, like the opening sequence of this movie I thought was really, really cool because you just have them talking, just playing the license plate game, doing the whole like where they both name call and you can't repeat the whatever name was said, like, and stuff like that, and then
Oh
just like
yeah.
as they're casually talking, you just have that shot going straight down their car, like through the windshields out, where you can see behind them, and you just slowly see a truck just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger,
Growing into
catching up to him.
focus.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about that. I just thought that was like such a cool like opening because it all takes 5 minutes from opening credits to this truck ramming them in the ass,
I was gonna say,
and
yeah.
like yeah, it was just I thought it was just a really really cool scene,
Yeah, it
like
is
a cool way
very
to open the movie.
100%, because I think yeah we clocked it. It was like 4 minutes and something, and all of a sudden we were in this intense drama. I too liked the weird, almost unnoticeable slow build of it, kind of like the boiling frog or whatever, where you don't realize it's happening until it's already upon you and it's too late. Um, Good fun, hard start. I don't understand Justin Long's driving during this because he is accelerating while trying to wave the guy past, and he could have just like, whipped off the side and hit the brakes. He would have been fine. Um,
But at the same time, as he's like swerving to let the guy around him, the well, we don't know, but the guy's not trying to go around him.
oh
He's actually
yeah.
just trying to like literally stay on their ass the whole time.
Which is also weird to me because like it explains later like, oh yeah, he's attracted to this, that, and the other or whatever, yada yada yada, but it's so random and out of the blue, and he gives up on him a few times seemingly, which I find strange for somebody who wants something so badly. um but yeah, they play this little weird game of ass chicken or whatever it is. Finally the van passes, and Derry thinks he gets a license plate at this point after everything calms and settles. We get the license plate beating you. which we come to find out later is not beating you. And it never actually specifies, but I mean, it hints hard enough at it that it says be eating you. Fun foreshadowing, I guess. We go through this, everything calms down. Trish goes into kind of just a long rant about
about the old from like I think it was from like from the 80s.
1970 something, I think it
Yeah.
is. 1978. There we go. That was a weird noise that came out of my throat. But yeah, it launches into this whole rant about the kids from the class of 78 who disappeared, and how the vehicle was found, but they never found the bodies or whatever, and da 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 da. And I think it's also in this scene towards the end that she tells him that she believes she's going to die on this stretch of road, or when
she always thought she would die on that road after
Right.
hearing that story, and I was just like, it's so weird.
she gets super dark super fast.
Yeah, and he even Derry even mentions it. Man, you got real morbid real quick.
Right? Like, it's just a complete downturn. Like, I know you all almost died and all, but you don't gotta go like super dark like that. Calm down, kid. The two end up well, Derry ends up claiming the beating you license plate, putting it to 5-3, and he wins, I guess. More sibling bickering bullshit. And
The whole 5-year-old nuh-uh,
nuh-uh.
nuh-uh. I'm like, yo, you're college students.
right. The next scene, dude, they're just on the side. We get a shot of Justin Long's back as he's standing at the side road taking a pee. Two siblings taking a pee and having a conversation just in a field is kind of strange to me. It's not an experience
I
I've ever
mean,
had, but
like it almost made me think they're like twins, or at least like a year or two
just
from
like
each other. So like,
super close.
yeah.
That
I
weird,
mean,
like,
because
we
like
were,
if
we
they're
were,
only like a year apart or something, or twins, they would probably be constantly around each other because they're around the same age. Because you don't have like that big, huge gap in between like siblings.
right.
Because obviously they're both in college. They never say like how old they each are. They never even reference if one's older than the other or not.
Right?
So I almost kind of put me in mind of like maybe they were twins or something.
That could be, it's never specified. But they're definitely in the same age bracket, I guess, where it's not weird enough. They probably spent like the first 4 years of their lives being bathed
Yeah, like
together or
nothing's
whatever.
awkward.
Like,
Nothing's awkward between them whatsoever. And then, like I said, the whole like the way they bicker is not like it's not like actual like being pissed off at each other or anything like that, but like
no,
more just trying to annoy one. They're both having fun trying to annoy
I,
each other, but it doesn't. They don't annoy each other at all. They're just kind of make games out of it or whatever.
I feel like that's the weirdest part to me is just like my biggest issue with the oversaturation of the sibling rivalry bullshit is just like y'all are like in your 20s in college and y'all are still acting like maybe like you're 12 or some shit. And that's a little weird. It progresses on, however. Trish ends up asking Daria if he's spoken to their mom, and how she sounded when he spoke to her. I guess she's worried about her. I don't know if there's a lot that doesn't really get expanded on.
No, it's just like like a lot of it just felt like filler to try to kind of give you, I guess, like a little history.
I guess it's
Yeah,
an almost meaningless exposition because it doesn't actually lead to anything. So yeah, it's just a lot of
it
fluff.
definitely feels like filler more than anything
Right.
else.
It is just a lot of fluff.
Which audience knows anything about anime, they know what filler is.
I mean, at least anime gives us a beach day. We get siblings pissing in a field together.
It's sort of the same.
Yeah, it's kind of the same, right?
I mean, it takes place, like the setting's Florida. There's a beach in Florida. Found
yeah,
the found the connection.
right. You made the reach no matter how far. It's a good thing you're not a T-Rex. That's all I gotta say. Um, excuse me, Trish is giving Daryl shit because he's got a bag full of fucking dirty clothes that he's taking home to have mommy wash for him. Cause she needs
Typical
it.
college kid.
Right? No, she needs it. You don't understand. She feels like she's losing me. Washing my clothes helps her.
She'll get depressed if I don't bring it.
Yeah, right. that was a line. And it's at this point they notice that the van that was tailgating them before is parked off the side of the road at an old boarded up looking church. As they're passing, they're staring real hard. They don't know the first rule of minding your own fucking business is minding your own fucking business. Eyes forward, cowboy.
Yeah, this is the start of my next note. White people being white people in a horror movie.
Yeah, and that comes up several times throughout the
Oh,
course of the
yes, it
feature.
does.
White people be white people in. Gotta stop. It's a bad one. But yeah, they're staring super hard. Then they see this gentleman thing dumping suspiciously shaped sheets with red stains on them down a large sewage drain.
How did it go? White sheets tied up. White sheets tied up. With red stains. It's just kind of the back and forth of like they're saying the same thing, but then just adding one more
Playing
adjective.
just such stupid sibling bullshit. I don't know where it got old. Where are my notes? Hold on, because I noted it.
It sounds like it got old pretty quickly.
Real
because this is like the
fast.
first 30 minutes of the damn movie.
Weirdly out of nowhere drama. The truck. Inbreeding is a very strong word. Justin Long screaming out. Probably has something to do with inbreeding or being inbred. Yeah, after Sis getting real fucking weird when she made that super dark turn is my first note of the sibling dynamic is getting obnoxious real fast. Which then brings us they're debating on what to do. Justin Long's like, I got a phone, and we get the trope of conveniently dead fucking cell phone in an emergency.
And the cigarette lighter doesn't work for the cord to charge the phone.
Right? Nothing works in this situation. Movies really, like horror really has to do away with the concept of cell phones at this point. Like, we can't have fun things when we've got cell phones, and getting rid of them in new and creative ways is getting difficult.
Or no, this is why horror movies are shot in the middle or always take place in the middle of nowhere with no cell reception.
No cell reception. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're on their way.
Well, that's
they
when
don't
as they're staring, that's when the guy throwing these body looking sheets down the well, and then he starts chasing after or driving after them again and ramming in the back of their car.
Yeah, this is where it gets really aggressive. And eventually runs them off the road. This poor classic vehicle loses all of its value over the course of this scene.
It is a nice classic car.
It's gorgeous, and it's all that. You know how much that bumper is going to cost to replace? Too much.
I mean, that's pure steel. There's no rubber in that.
Right?
Or plastic, I should say.
That whole car is just one hunk of metal, and it is ruined. Runs them off the road through a fence into farmland. What was that? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say definitely vintage.
Yeah, keeping it authentic. Yeah, they crash through the fence and end up stalling out in the middle of a field. The truck, however, keeps going. Another thing I got a question about the truck. We don't know a lot about the truck lore, but it is super fast and sturdy and reliable. Now, is the truck like demonic too? Or
no, as Derry called it, it's souped up or something.
Souped up.
And anybody who grew up in the early 2000s knows exactly what that means, because that was a dumb reference for
I think even like the 90s
upgrading a car.
I think even like the
I think I blame
90s.
Fast and Furious.
It popularized, definitely. But yeah, they end up run off the road. The truck drives off, and we get Derry fixing the vehicle to the best of his ability using underwear to tie down the trunk.
That was the best part.
And they have this whole conversation about going back because Daryl is suddenly Darius, whatever, not Daryl. He turns her words back on him from the conversation they were having with his mother, or about their mother, and thinking
like,
beyond himself and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the complete wrong point to start taking up your sister's words of wisdom on.
This is the next part of white peopling in a horror movie.
White peopling whitely. In horror. It's just this is not what your sister meant, Derry. But he insists that they've got to go back. They've got to check. What if somebody's alive? What if someone needs help? Yada 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 yada. All the
last part that convinces her, what if it was you back there?
What if it was you?
And then, of course, she turns around and drives back to the church after hearing that.
Yeah, and I'm real mad at her about it, too, because this whole thing could have been avoided. She said, fine, okay, let's go back. And then she just proceeded to drive the fuck home and not go back to the church. Movie over, roll credits. Nobody dies.
Well, people die, but just not them.
You know what? Those people don't matter. They're not the main cast. Anyway, but yeah, she drives him back, to where we end up getting Derry in all his stupidity. They're about to leave, and he swears he hears something come from this sewer.
Oh, no, he was asking for
drain.
A flashlight.
He was.
Oh,
he was.
Something.
Yeah.
And then when she brings the flashlight, he hears it. He actually hears it louder, and then that's when, hey, I'm gonna crawl down here and try to get a little closer. Hold my feet.
Daryl ends up getting a face full of Daryl. I gotta stop calling him Daryl, man.
Yeah, it's Darius.
Derry. Darius or Derry. Derry ends up with a face full of rat. To which he begins screaming and kicking like a small child in fear, causing his sister Trish to lose hold on him, and he goes sliding down. We get a really weird like slow-mo fall where he's
it was kind of weird how he fell the way he landed the way he did, because if you're going face first, you're not going to land unless you're doing a front flip on the end of the pipe.
He would have had to have
not landing straight on your back like that.
I mean, he would have had to like rolled onto his back in the pipe, because coming out of that pipe, he would have either come out and like somersaulted and landed upside down from it, or he would have come out and landed on his face.
Then this one I noted, when he finally falls down into the pipe, hits the ground and all that, suddenly there's enough light to see from the top of the pipe all the way to the bottom of the pipe, even though they couldn't do that from before because they needed a flashlight.
Right. Oh, now we can see down the pipe. Now there's enough light to spotlight the floor of this basement area.
Trish could even see his facial expressions from the top of the pipe, and this is probably a good, I would say, 20 feet from the top of the pipe to the ground? Good 20, 30 feet, something like that, if I had to guess.
Maybe something of that nature. He's looking up pretty far, so I mean...
Yeah, he is.
I do have a note where Trish called out the stupid shit during everything, saying it's all a bad idea and how horrible it is. Darius deserved to get the rats in the face and to fall down the hole. Because when he gets down in the bottom, he starts blaming her for it, as if he wasn't kicking and screaming and making it impossible to hold his stupid ankles, I guess. Darius sucks.
Again, goes back to the sibling dynamic of, it
sucks so bad. It's the worst part of the movie to me, aside from fucking the director being a horrible human being. we get a good bit of body horror here, where we get our first. Well, Darius finds one of the sheeted bodies that gets tossed down the hole, which I brought this up while we were watching. What the hell happened there, where the bodies just
Well,
weren't
when you're
laying in
just
the
chucking
spotlight
them,
at the bottom?
when you're just chucking them, when they gain some speed going down, and then when they fly out, they, kind of maybe roll a
Roll
bit.
10 feet to the left.
I mean, I know we don't know it at the time of, this part of the movie, but it is a creature, not a person throwing them down there.
Yeah, maybe. We get we get the discovery of these sheeted corpses. But this one's not dead, and it turns out to be
The way he finds out he's not dead just by kind of kicking him, it
Kicking
just
it.
reminded me of the one of the Treehouse of Horrors from The Simpsons, where Flanders was, you know, Flanders dies, and then or Homer runs him over, and then he gets a stick, pokes him in the eye. Yep, he's dead, all
Yep.
right. And then later, Flanders is not dead, and he pokes him in the eye with a stick. Yep, he's undead, all right. Yep, let's kick this guy and see if he's alive or not.
Oh man, you love it. I just absolutely love it. Um, but yeah, so he kind of nudges it with his foot, and you can see in the shot, you can see like the hand moving underneath the fabric. But yeah, arm shoots out, grabs by leg, freaks him out. He finally gets this man uncovered, and we get a stitched up emo lad, who may not actually be
I'm sorry,
emo.
what did you call him?
Us-
What did you call him while we're watching it?
Oh,
Gave him a
Gerard Way.
There it is.
Holy shit, Gerard Way? I didn't know you were in this movie. Did I put that in my note? No, I didn't. That's good. And then we get, following very shortly after, the basement reveal itself, with the bodies stitched all over the ceilings, the walls. I think this might be one of my favorite shots in the movie.
It was cool because I mentioned, because he noticed something dripping on his shoe as he's tying his shoe, and then he puts the flashlight like under his arm, and then it shines the background, and then as it like zooms out, the scene actually gets lighter and
Starts
lighter and lighter
brightening,
to where
yeah.
you can actually see everything, every like the whole ceiling, the walls, and all that stuff, which you couldn't see before because it was too dark. I thought that was like a really cool that I know, get a little ahead of myself. That might have been maybe my favorite scene of the movie.
I definitely have it marked up there as the potential top for sure. I think there's another scene or two ahead that I really appreciated as well. But yeah, this one's like the first scene that I was just like, oh yeah, this is good. I like this. Something in the aesthetic.
I like what you did here.
Right.
I like what you did here.
Something in the aesthetic of your corpse room with the slowly brightening lights. I like it. And then quickly following this, we find that the story was true, that these students really did go missing back in the graduating class of 78. As we get their bodies very waxen and preserved, and looking real nasty and stitched together, but we have the class ring there to kind of signify towards it. And at this point, Derry is completely traumatized. Meanwhile, Sister Trish is up at the car, allegedly keeping an eye out for like incoming vehicles to flag down for help, or God forbid, the creeper shows up in his big murder van.
And doesn't even notice. Again, kind of like a drawback to the opening scene. She's just kind of leaning against her car, looking in an opposite direction. You just see in the subtlety in the background of a the small
Coming into
truck getting
focus.
bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you said, coming into focus. And yeah, I just really really love Just like the subtlety of it, like, because it
Yeah.
makes you like really pay attention to what's going on, like in the background and everything. I just thought that was really cool.
Right. And then this was just a really good bait and switch. Because
Yeah.
it's the same model, the same grill feature coming towards her. So I mean, it looks like the murder wagon coming at her. Only to see that it's like a farm truck or whatever filled with hay. But she's in the car, freaked out, realizes, oh, it's just a hay truck, and boom, there's Daria at her window. Looking like he just came back from war, honestly.
Yeah.
Justin Long,
PTSD was hitting hard.
yeah, Justin Long played that part really well.
I mean, especially like I said, for his first leading role and all that. Like, yeah,
he plays trauma real good. I don't know if that's a thing you want to be known for, but damn, he plays trauma.
I mean, it's
real
good for horror movies.
Yeah.
And he's done a few horror movies.
That is true. I haven't thought about the number of horror movies that Justin Long has actually done. I'm making a list. Fuck it. We're gonna have more tier lists. I'm telling you, tier lists. They're coming. But yeah. So he gets in the car. They get back on the road, driving back on their way to get to, I guess. I don't know if they have intentions of a gas station, but they are running out of gas, so they determine they have to stop. And we arrive at this weird little gas station diner.
Well, that's where Derry tells her that he found the I can't think of their names, but the couple that was driving from prom, I believe they said,
Kenny
in
and
the 70s.
Darla.
Yeah, that they mentioned, at the beginning of the movie, and he mentioned that, what he did for her? He sewed her head back
Put
on.
her head back on. He knew what he was doing. Yeah. Just recounting that, like I said, Justin Long plays traumatized really well. But yes, the two are back on the road. They have to stop for gas and pull into a little diner gas station where they intend to also call the cops. It's a weird situation. Everybody in the diner, nobody seems to have an issue that they're in there asking somebody to call the cops while Daria is very clearly covered in dirt, shirt torn, bleeding. Like, clearly it's an emergency, and everybody just looks and gawks like,
like they're the weird ones.
right? Like, what are you talking about? Who are these people?
We don't call cops around here.
Call cops? What?
What are cops?
What that?
Never heard of them.
And then we get the weirdness where the payphone rings, and everybody just looks expectantly at them to answer it. You said this. Who answers a fucking random payphone? Like,
well, first of all, who calls a payphone? And second of all, who answers one when it rings?
right? Like, I'm not.
And kids, if you're, not of our generation, you're in the younger generation. So we had these things called payphones, and you had to put, what was it, 35 cents, 25 cents?
Quarter and a dime.
And you could call,
Yeah.
you could call anybody from these just little payphone booths, or you could call people collect.
Yeah.
And make them pay for it.
Yeah.
But I
Hit that
digress.
little zero and call up the operator and yeah. But yeah, like it's everything just gets really weird and kind of uncomfortable. I feel like there are a few places in this film where that just happens. But yeah, they decide they're gonna wait, gonna talk to the cops. Derry answers the phone, and there's a woman on the other end. This is Jez, of course, our friendly neighborhood psychic lady, I guess, who asks him, who tells him that she's seen him with the cats, confirms what he's wearing, that he's got like a rose tattoo on his stomach. Also an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And they're just screaming in this. They're just screaming in this diner. I honestly, I don't know who's more weird at this point. The people who just gawk and don't give a shit, or them actively having a meltdown in the middle of this weird place where nobody seems to give a shit that it's happening. But it's just all very weird. Um, but yeah, she says she
Oh,
saw the. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that in this conversation, that's where she mentions the song "Jeepers Creepers," where'd you get those peepers? Once you hear it once, it's stuck in your head for the
Right.
rest of time.
Yeah.
But also, telling whenever you hear that song, that means something bad's about to happen, and all the
Danger's near.
danger is imminent.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, he is this. He has a further meltdown. Um, and then we get a time skipped where it's suddenly nighttime. Uh, they've already spoken to the police, and the cops are coming back to talk to them again, just to give us exposition for like what Daryl explained. Daryl, son of a bitch, Derry, um, Derry explained to him, when the server at the restaurant comes running in, exclaiming that there was a man outside. He was going through their car, and we come out and we get a bunch of close-ups on clothes strewn about the
Yeah,
parking
this
lot.
is one of so there's a few scenes in this movie that I just like. It's just a weird way to shoot it, and this is definitely one of them. Of like, so they have the car, the back door's open, clothes are scattered all around the car, and then you just have these weird, like, fast zoom-ins.
Right, very.
And I'm just like, okay, if the car was torn apart and there's car parts everywhere, I could maybe see that, but it's just clothes. And I don't know, it was just a weird way to shoot that. And then kind of, the whole thing, like, when he's like, oh, hey, do you guys need a handprint or whatever? And the cops go look at the handle and see, like, it looks like it's dust on the handle. And then
Right.
that slow zoom out of, like, Trish looking up at the side
Yeah, that just lingers
was,
for a hair
yeah,
too long.
it was just some weird, like camera shots.
Yeah, that whole scene is just a series of questionable
So on
filming.
this little synopsis that you have, it says she
Hmm.
noticed a shadow in the sky.
It,
I did not see anything about a shadow or sound of wings.
yeah,
I didn't
I
catch any of
I
that.
didn't catch any of that. Uh,
I guess that makes a little more sense then of shooting it that way, but I did not notice a shadow or wings or anything. I don't know. That was
no, like I
that.
don't know where that's coming into play here because like it's
And believe me, I have seen this movie quite a few times. I have
right.
not noticed wings or shadow.
We literally just watched the damn
Yeah,
thing like an hour
exactly.
ago.
And usually the stuff I don't pick up on, you pick up on.
Right,
So
someone's
yeah,
got
that
coverage
was
here and nobody caught this. Now I'm gonna go back and look for it specifically because I need
ex-
to see this with my own eyes now for it to match up in my brain. Uh, yeah, I didn't get any of that, so that's also interesting, I guess. Um, but the whole thing, this whole shooting is just kind of fucking weird, and the shots themselves just feel like fluff. I
yeah,
guess would be a way to put
yeah.
it.
It
Like,
seems like a lot. Like I know, like it's not a long movie. It's just an hour and a half long movie, but it feels like a good what 30% of the movie is kind of fluff and filler.
yeah, like a lot of it is just filler. With the shooting taking either the real shooting taking place like in the locations. Otherwise,
Mhm.
it's a lot of the vehicular stuff is a lot of just like conversational and filler items to move the plot along.
I will say, going from like the weird shot of like the weird zoom ins of the car and all that, but like the next like little scene of them driving and the cops driving behind them, I thought this scene was kind of cool how they shot it, where it's like it's on Derry and Trish like in their car having a conversation, and then it kind of because it's like on the side of their car as they're like driving, and then it kind of pans to the cops and zooms in on their conversation, and
Right.
then it kind of goes out from them, and then goes back to Derry and Trish, and zooms back in on their, like them are still in their conversation, like not where they left off, but like where I thought that was kind of a cool way they shot that, and then
Right.
the Jeepers Creepers song comes on from there.
And I like the version of that song. I like
The
that
pop version.
version. Yeah, the pop version is
It
pretty
was
fucking rad.
it sounded like a banger. Had banger qualities, let's put it that way.
Gee, that's going on a playlist tonight. But yeah, I agree. We go from a scene that is just like a handful of just very unnecessary shots to a really good exchange, going from Derry and Trish to the cops, and even when it's on Derry and Trish. I'm getting names but tonight, guys. Real sorry about that. Long day, 4:30 in the morning wake ups and been running ever since. But seeing through their windshield and then out the back windshield, to the cop car where the creeper is standing on top of it, and then we get to the cut to the cop car where she pops her head up and out, and
Yeah, because you had a fun little comment for that one.
I forget what it was, but it was like, is it
It
standard
was like,
procedure?
is it standard procedure for a cop to just hang out
the side of the fucking
window of their
window?
car to see what's on the roof?
Oh man, but yes, Officer Natasha, yes, at this point gets ripped out of the vehicle, and then Officer, who was it?
Don't think they had a name.
It was Robert, yeah. Officer
was it?
Weston and
Okay.
Officer Gideon, yeah. Officer Gideon gets pulled through the roof by his head. And I don't know how the cop car is still moving at full speed at this point in time. He's clearly not pushing the gas.
He's a tall man.
Yeah, I guess he's a tall man. He's tiptoeing on the gas. And the fucking creeper just pulls out a battle axe? Which,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, he's seen some things. He's been around for a while. He has a collection.
Clearly.
He has a collection of weapons.
Okay. Pause here for a second. We'll jump back into the story and everything, but can we talk about the creeper for a moment? Like, we haven't gotten a fucking full reveal of him yet, but just as a monster, how do you feel about the creeper?
Oh, I thought it was kind of cool
And-
looking, and
Like, do you have any like lore knowledge? Like, I know you
no.
okay, so you don't know any
The
further
second
exposition on him.
one, the second one goes into more lore
Right.
about it. But I've only seen that movie once, so I can't exactly like tell you a lot from it. Because the first one doesn't give you a lot. Like, it gives you like
No.
every 23 springs, and he feeds for 23 days, that kind of thing. But yeah, the second one expands on the lore a little bit more. I've never seen the third one. The third one might expand even more.
Right.
But yeah, the second one expands on it a little bit in a weird way, because it like the main character in the second one, she has like this weird vision of Justin Long like explaining the lore to her,
What?
and yeah, it
Wow.
like it's a decent movie, but it's definitely weird too. It has some weird choices.
Look, I know we got to record a supplemental after this, but you want to just like fuck that off for a bit and watch Jeepers Creepers too? I need lore on this guy, because like you don't really get shit about him, and like in other slasher
No.
movies and stuff. I
I
guess
think
this
that's
is
probably why there was I
they
don't want to
did
say
a
a demand
turnaround
for the
on us.
second one, but I think that's why there was a second one, and then there began a cult following, just because like the second one gave like a little bit more answers to like the
Right.
lore and all that stuff.
It's like I get this is a creature feature, and maybe it was possibly just considered to be like, okay, well, we're gonna do this one off, and if it takes off, whatever. But they were working on such a small budget, it was probably like, well, this is our one off. So, but yeah, like I need lore on him, because slashers, you get all the lore in the first movie, like, oh, Frederick Krueger, Yeah, no, he was a child diddler and he fucking got burnt up in the fucking boiler room at the place he worked because the parents don't set him on fire. Um, but with this we get nothing, and like it drives me nuts because the creeper is kind of a fucking like really cool monster.
Mm.
He looks almost like a superhero and just like,
I mean,
or
you
I
don't
guess a
even know he has
villain.
wings until like the upcoming scene we're about to get to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a little bit beyond that too, eh? But yeah, just you don't get a lot about him, but he has this cool ass fucking mask. He looks like the super villain, fucking wearing a trench coat with. He's just really cool, and I want to know more about him. But anyway, okay, we can jump back into it. I just wanted to stop and like kind of gush on how badass the fucking creeper is and why I'm so upset I didn't get any story about him. But yeah, so pulls out a freaking battle axe and hacks off Gideon's head.
And then chucks it
And
at Trish
chucks
and
it.
Barry's car. And it just lands on the fucking hood of the, or bounces off the hood of the car.
Which I take some force, I think, if you're throwing into the wind as you're like.
See, this is what I'm saying.
flying
When he's
down the
throwing the
road,
bodies
it-
down the, when he's throwing bodies down the pipe, he was putting some muscle behind it. They rolled
He
after they landed
wasn't.
on the ground.
He just like he was lazily flumping him down the hole. Okay, we saw it. We all saw it. We
saw
were
what
all
I saw,
gawking
man.
like dummy white people staring at a murderer throwing bodies in a hole.
I saw what I saw, man.
You know, whatever. But yeah, chucks the head at him, which causes them to spin out.
Well,
And
yeah,
the-
it freaks Trish out, and she kind of spins out. And then
Yeah.
somehow the cop car. Well, I guess. Well, it does make sense because then the creeper's sitting.
The creeper's in
the
the car.
driver's
yeah.
seat, so he stops the car, which makes more sense. Because I was like, how the hell does the cop car stop if the cop is dead, but then he's sitting on the driver's side of the cop car?
Right. And this begins like a string of things that I'm curious about because like the creeper is focused on Justin Long's character. But he has no problem stopping along the way to kill and eat like any and everyone on the path.
Well, they reveal it. I know we haven't got to the part yet, but they reveal it later in the movie that like he needs to scare people to like get a
Right.
certain scent, and then that's when he finds what body parts he needs
Okay, so
from people.
that yeah, it makes sense for me now. But now it's just like so he was just marinating him the whole movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
That makes it
To really
Oh,
find out what he
no.
wants. It's like, you know, when you marinate the chicken in the Jack Daniels the night before, just
just-
along with the chicken, and the fear is the Jack Daniels.
I am going to fuck the fear turkey. Helsing abridged. Good stuff. Go watch. But that just ooh, no. Ew. That gave me a whole lot of like when you think about it, it's about this man figure torturing a young man over the course of a film in order to have his way with him in the end. And I feel like that just reeks of past experience in the case of Slugman at this point. So I don't want to think I don't want to think along those lines anymore, and I want to be a dummy on this film again. Anyway, where were we?
So this is where, yeah, he kills the cop,
We-
and then he gets out of the car. Trish is kind of like, walking up towards the cop car and, trying to find out like what happened. And then the creeper gets out of the car. That's when she runs back in the car, and they just stare at him instead of driving away. And then he picks up the cop's severed head, gives it a real good sniff, maybe even a lick or two also, and then just proceeds to
yeah.
really get in there on his mouth and just
Tongue
bite down
action.
on his tongue and pull his tongue out of his head with his teeth and just gobbles that down. And then the next thing you see is him throwing the cops' bodies, which somehow he had time to wrap up in sheets and
Right.
everything. Throws them in the back of the van, which I thought this part was kind of funny because he closes the doors and you just get like a black screen, and then like a few seconds later he opens it back up and throws the cop's head in there and closes the door. I thought that was
Right.
kind of cool.
Just like, oh, don't want to forget this. Oh. You brought up a good point. Where did he get it? Where was his van stashed?
Exactly, like because he was not driving behind him. He just landed on
Yeah.
top of the cop car. There was no sign of of his truck anywhere. I didn't see any sheets and rope unless he just has that in the back of his truck also, and just yeah,
Oh, it's like
it was yeah.
man's landed on the roof from the sky, and they were still driving. Like they didn't stop
Hmm.
driving. So even if his van was like parked off the side of the road, like that bitch is a mile back at this point.
Exactly.
Like inconsistencies. I had a couple notes starting from Cool Battle Axe. When the car spins out and they lose every hubcap. Those things weren't attached to begin with, if that's all it took to send all four flying into the streets.
I mean, you see that in every movie though, like when a car like kind of squeals out like that and the hubcap just flies off.
All four?
I mean, it's usually not four, it's usually like one or two, but we're really getting the effects in
I
in
guess
this one.
so. They're squeezing them out, man. And every bit of that 10 million's got to go towards ejecting hubcaps, I guess. You get my second note of dumb white people shit, because they just sit there and stare at him the whole time as he's making out with the cop. Which, note, that's hot, because it kind of was. It was pretty sensual. Did I get that here? That's further down on my notes. Never mind. But yeah. So we moving past it. They finally get the fuck out of there after staring for a good long hard moment. And they end up pulling off at a house, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's where Trish is like speeding down the road, being all crazy
Weaving
for
all
no reason
over.
at all. And
Yeah.
Daddy's like, slow down,
Just
slow down. And then she
stops.
just comes to a dead stop right in front of, a house. And he's like, no. She's like, well, we need a phone. He's like, no. She's
No.
like, you told me to stop. He's like, no, I said slow down.
Right. But yeah, they end up stopping at this house. In which they're met with Shotgun Granny, unnamed cat lady, and possibly my favorite character. She acted the hell out of this part. Asked them who they are. It's silhouetted at this point. We get a bunch of cats, and then the power goes out. And Creeper's caught up to him. Taking place in front of a scarecrow. Granny comes out with the shotgun. What happened? I'm curious as to what happened with the whole scarecrow shotgun scene, because she shoots and the scarecrow explodes, or does the
Yeah, I guess,
creeper
like,
explode
he-
in fire?
No, because I think he jumps out of the way because the next like little scene he's like on the roof.
Yeah.
So I think it's the scarecrow behind him that kind of explode like with the hay and everything like explodes out of it. And then he like jumps on the roof and ends up in the house, and that's when the old granny goes in the house after him. Get the hell out of my house, kind
Right.
of thing.
I was just curious because like it's a fiery explosion that comes from this scarecrow. Like somebody just
Yeah, I
set
think
off an
it's probably
M80 or something.
I think it's more like the the shotgun blast hitting the hay, and it's the hay kind of exploding
Sparking up and
everywhere.
exploding outward.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a lot of interesting choices in this film. But yes, Granny goes inside with the shotgun to save her kitties, her 101.
Her babies, as she referred to them.
Yeah, so many cats. According to the synopsis here, it says that there are at least 20 cats in her home.
Oh God.
I think I said about 20, didn't I? I think that was my guesstimation.
I definitely undercut because I think I said about 12.
Right? You're like, there's at least 12 cats here. I'm like, there's like 20 there, dude. What? There's like 20 cats in this house. What? Um, but yeah, Derry's trying to get Trish to get the fuck out of here. We gotta go. And this is when we get the lady silhouetted in the door. The creeper holding her, and this is, I guess, is this our second death on screen?
Yeah, like well,
Technically,
you have the guy in the sheet at the beginning.
okay,
You
yeah,
have
that's
the two
true.
cops.
Technically,
And
we don't
then-
see Natasha get killed. She just gets pulled out the window and we never see her again.
I mean, okay, it's assumed, so I guess this would be the third.
The third on screen death. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says the creeper stabs her in the throat with. Does he use his claw or does he use one of his head claws? Because we get the head
it looked
claw
like 'cause
reveal later.
He had his I thought he
hand
had
around her
his,
throat.
like hand
Yeah, on the back of her neck,
like
holding
in her
her up.
back and
Oh,
like
was it in
holding
her?
her up. I thought maybe I looked at it wrong, and then he just kind of like throws her.
Yeah, I thought he was holding her by the back of her neck, like holding her up, but maybe.
But this is like where you get the first like close up of his face and like how his face looks. And actually, there's a little interesting note in the little synopsis that I did not pick up on, but like when they kind of do a close up of on his face, you see his eyes are like cloudy, like he's blind. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never
yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah, his eyes are clouded over.
I didn't take that as like maybe he was blind, so
Right. But
that kind of explains a little bit more later in the movie.
right. This is the first face reveal for the creeper because we got when he was killing the cop or when he killed the cops, we got kind of like a side profile and whatnot. But it was also
You can kind of make him out, but not really. But then, yeah, this is the first like real close up on like his facial features and all that.
And it's so good. Like I don't understand why he's wearing a mask. I don't have to.
It's not a mask. That's his actual face.
It looks like a mask. Well, no, like the bottom part of his face is real, but it looks like he's wearing like a fucking like Batman cowl or something on his head. Like I said, it's a really cool design. I fucking love this monster. I want to know more about him. But yes, they get out, and this is this where they start running him over?
So so they run back to the car, and then she like stops, or no, like she backs out, and then like the gears, because her car is shitty, the gears are stuck. And that's when Derry's telling her like, go, 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 go. She's like, it's stuck in reverse. She's like, then go in reverse. And then she like backs up, and then he's just kind of standing in the middle of the road. So this is where she gets the bright idea, because he's on their hood. As she's going in reverse, he does a somersault off their hood and lands on his feet. And then she gets the bright idea, oh, I can run him down.
Right.
Well, she goes forward. He literally, like does his greatest Jackie Chan impersonation and like jumps over the car. Then they back up. He jumps over the car, and then they go forward again. And I almost think he like lets them hit him, because that's almost what it looked like.
Yeah, he kind of like tucks and rolls
she,
into it.
Yeah, and that's when she, runs him over, or they hit him, and then Derry's like, "Oh, is he dead?" And they never are. So runs him over, runs him over, runs him over.
Yeah, that you think he's dead, they never are. Was like just a weird piece of awareness.
Well,
like
I mean, it is at this point in horror movie lore, like I'm pretty sure everybody watching it for the first time is saying the same thing Trish is.
Sure, but I mean, this isn't like a Scream, or this isn't a dissertation on the anatomy of a horror film. So it's just a very weird, self-aware line in the middle of it. Like, the bitch is onto the plot. But Trish is very onto the plot pretty much throughout the whole thing. She's the voice of reason in the beginning who's like, no, we shouldn't go back. This is stupid. No, this is how white people get deaded. What are you doing? But yes, it runs over multiple times because he takes it the first time, reverses over him. How many did you count? 4?
4.
4 times running over
Yeah,
until
because after the third time, that's when like his one wing kind of sprawl, kind of comes up out of his what do they call those? The jacket that
the
he's
trench
wearing.
coat or long
Trench coat,
coat.
thank you. That's when like the wing comes out, and then that's when they run him over one more time, and then go onto the police station.
Right, I've got wing reveal and one for the road. So yeah, they run him over. His leg and his arm are extremely mangled, tire marked, and ashen almost. I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like ash that they've turned into after being run over repeatedly. Trish and Derry end up at a police station where they end up getting hold of their parents, I guess. We get Trish telling her dad to stop yelling, telling her mom they're okay, to just wait for him because it would be faster for them to drive home than it would be for them to come and get them, I guess.
Well, no, they were waiting at the police station for their parents to come and pick them up.
Oh, okay. My
That was
mistake.
the whole point of the phone call.
Okay, my mistake. I thought Trish was telling them that, hey, don't come and get us. It's not worth waiting. We can get home faster than it would be to just wait for you. But this is where we get the introduction of Jez finally, who
You see
they've
a
been
face
speaking to on the phone.
voice.
Yes. Who I guess the police aren't fond of. And they think she's kind of a crackpot, but I guess the town thinks she's a crackpot. She makes that clear later on. But then she gives us the exposition finally on the creeper being allowed to return every 23rd spring for 23 days to eat.
And he eats for 23 days.
And
And that's where you get kind of clarification on the license plate. It's not beating you, it's eating you.
Which is fun and funny. I like it. The creeper is a bit of a connoisseur, I guess, now that everything has been put together. But it's at this point they're standing around chatting. A van arrives in the police station parking lot. The lights go out, and the creeper's in the building really fast. I don't know where he enters from, but he starts in like the basement, I guess.
In the jail cells.
They're down in the cells, yeah.
Yeah. He has to get his new arm and his new leg after being ran over 4 times.
Right. Which is an interesting play out. I don't know if it's the chief who's going down to investigate, but gets downstairs, making his way cell by cell, waking everybody up, checking to make sure everybody's in their cells. And he gets to the end where he sees the creeper hunched over, eating one of the inmates. And he lingers for a long time, very calmly watching this.
Before he pulls out his gun,
Yeah.
and finally shoot at him.
Before doing anything, he just sits there watching him eat a man, slowly taking it in. But yes, the creeper's eating, healing himself up, and the cop tries to shoot him, but he gets taken out as well. They move Trish and Derry and Jez, everyone, into a holding room for safety.
No, they were going to move him to the holding room, but that's when Jez basically
Says they have
said,
to
"No, you don't
run."
want to go there because that's where the creature grabs one of you." And in my dream, I saw one of you screaming in the dark with the Jeepers Creepers song playing in the background. So
It's
they're actually trying to like go out the back door, but it's electronically locked with the power out.
that's right. It's such a we get these tiny bits of exposition, and it's all really disconjointed because she never gives straight answers about anything, and even in the end, we don't really get a straight answer from her. But
No.
yeah, they try to escape. They get to the doors. Everything's locked down. The cops are at the stairwell because they get over the radio that the creeper is making his way upstairs from the south stairwell or whatever. A lot of cops in this building for the hour.
Especially for the hour. Nobody patrols the streets
Right, no one's out on
ever.
patrol. Like,
And it doesn't look like it's a very big precinct for the amount of cops that are there, because there's a good, like, what, 30 cops?
yeah, there's a lot of people in this building.
Because it's got to be, like, after midnight at this point of the movie.
I don't know why they're all there. I guess it's just for a really big badass raid scene. Um, but the creeper, the last thing they hear is that the creeper is climbing the walls. And yeah, they start hearing noise coming from above them, and suddenly the cop nearest to the stairwell ends up with a giant hole in his chest, which is a shot that I particularly liked. I think this was one of those that I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I like this because the back silhouetted with just the officer's flashlight shining through a gaping hole in his chest. Good kill. I like it. It's up there on my list. After that, we cut back to Jez, Trish, and Derry having a conversation, or a very aggressive conversation, as Derry's trying to get the information out of Jez for who and what she saw in her dreams concerning who was going to die and who was screaming. And again, she doesn't give straight answers. She kind of glances over at Trish.
Yeah, which makes everybody think that it's Trish, but then
Right.
as Derry is trying to, get over all your dreams ever wrong, and she just keeps saying, you don't understand, which it kind of gives you, like, makes you think it's Trish is the one that ends up being taken.
She's very right, because I don't understand.
Exactly.
I clearly don't understand. I'm sorry. I need you to tell me.
But then this is when the creeper comes around and does his Spider-Man impression across the
I
wall,
I love
coming after him.
I love how he just pops around the corner like
Yeah,
full
his head just
horizontal.
pops up. His head just pops around the corner and then just starts crawling towards him. That's when
Hey guys.
Trish and Derry run upstairs, and Jez just kind of
Drops
gets
and
on her
starts
hands and knees
praying.
and starts praying. And then the creeper kind of grabs her by, or it seemingly looks like he leaves her alone, but then pops up and like grabs her by the head and just starts sniffing her, and then
Yeah,
doesn't
and
want
then
anything to do with
dips.
her and leaves her.
I don't know what is, like, he marinating her the longest.
Well, no, he just didn't need anything from her.
I don't know. Like, she's the only one who's seen him and knows him kinda, and I think he's marinating her. I think he's saving her for last. um, no confirmation. Kind of a weird scene. Maybe weirdly
Um,
erotic. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
because this next part is another one of those scenes that made no sense to me.
Uh,
Because Trish and Derry get to like one of the interrogation rooms where they have like the room with the two-way mirror. So the creeper's on one
yeah.
side of the mirror, Trish and Derry are on the other, trying to find like a way out, and then the camera is in the room with the creeper on one side, and then you just see Derry and Trish just kind of going back and forth like two 5-year-olds fighting over a remote is the best way for me to describe it, and it's all silent. And then the camera pops from their side of the room, and they're still struggling with each other, but it's still silent.
Yeah,
Like you
that
don't understand like what is going on, what the dynamic is, why the back and forth, like tugging on each other back and forth, and then that's when he just kind of breaks through the mirror,
it's such
and yeah, because he grabs both of them and kind of sniffs both of them, licks both of them, throws Trish to the side, and then that's when he has Derry um, like kind of held with all the cops coming in, guns a-blazing.
Wild standoff. Yeah, no, that whole scene was so. I don't. Just there's no real context to it. Like you said, yeah, just it cuts over to where we're in the room with them, but it's still silent, like we're on the other side of the mirror. And it's such a weird nothing scene. I guess maybe. I mean, I get that the creeper's kind of, I guess, savoring the build up and intensity and fear, and it's yeah, ramp it up, ramp it up, ramp it up. But still, like the context for why they're fighting, why they're being so physical and aggressive with each other is
it was just a really weird scene.
Right. I can understand, like, yeah, they're terrified and they've got this thing after them and yada yada, but like it's almost like they're fighting and there's nothing to fight about.
Like I said, it's like two children fighting over a toy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's so weird. But yes, we get to the cops and the standoff, and we get Trish trying to reason with the creeper to take her and leave Derry, which it went on for a period to where you almost maybe think something might happen, maybe. But instead the creeper just bursts out of the window with Derry and flies off into the night. Which Trish gets down roadside. You said this, gets outside real fast from a second floor of police station. Enough to keep up with them for at least a brief moment before it's hopeless. We get a cut to the next day, where Trish is sitting in the police station, waiting for her parents to arrive, and Jess comes in. And Trish, says, "You never answered his question. Are your dreams ever wrong?" To which Jez is
basically says she's just a crazy old woman with dreams or whatever.
I swear,
over and over again.
If questions were dodgeball, she'd be a fucking master. But yeah, I'm a crazy old woman. Crazy dreams. Ask anybody. Ask anybody in town. I'm just a crazy woman. And that bothers me because we get no real conclusion from any of that. Like, that was a big nothing burger. Jez as a character is completely pointless. She didn't really.
She just kind of points out like what the creature kind of is and does, and that's about it.
Yeah, she gives like the briefest I keep saying I said exhibition. I've already forgotten the word again. All right, anyway. I've used the word like 10 times tonight and I've forgotten what it is now. But yeah, she gives us the information. That's all she's there for, is like this very lightly used vehicle. I guess that's why she didn't get top billing underneath Unnamed Cat Lady. Because yeah, she's kind of a needless character. But we do get. I don't really feel satisfied with this conclusion either. I mean, we come to a factory. Trish has spaced out, staring at a raven that has flown overhead, or a crow, one of the two. I am not a bird guy. The space is out on this bird, who we eventually get to an old factory where all these birds are located, and we can hear Derry screaming in the background. Jeepers Creepers comes in. The creeper is doing work, and we see a Derry waxy figurine man without the back of his head, and his eyes ripped out. Our final shot is the creeper using them as his own, popping up behind and looking out through his eye holes, which is pretty much the placard and movie poster and everything.
Hmm.
Uh,
Which, going back to that, I did not notice at all. Like when they had the close up on his face, when his eyes were kind of glossed over, like almost like a film over his eyes, like he's
mhm,
blind, and he ends up taking Derry's eyes, and that's what he needed from Derry,
from Derry, yeah.
which I honestly did not pick up on until tonight.
It's yeah, it's an interesting tie together, and I mean, but it still doesn't feel like super satisfying as far as endings go for me. Uh,
Yeah, it is a good movie with good spots, but there are some weird scenes and lots of filler for no reason, and the ending is still kind of just
it's almost anticlimactic.
yeah, yeah, that'd probably be a good way to
Like,
describe it.
yeah, we got what I guess we paid for in the end. We came for this story and we got the story, but it without more information on the creature, I don't feel as much of an attachment to the creature, and with a lot of the inconsistencies within the film, it makes things kind of a jumble. So we arrive at an end that we were kind of expecting, and that's about it. There's no big twist. There was no. I guess the twist was that it was Derry instead of Trish, as they try to kind of lead you towards
I
Trish.
I
But
guess that's a twist. Yeah.
right, I mean, the movie pretty good. Like it's a solid. I'm not gonna call it 100% banger, but like it's not a bad film. It's a weird film. It is a film with a lot of inconsistency to it, and maybe not enough explanation in the right areas. But all in all, pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. This was a one-off for me back in high school when it came out. Like, not to date myself or anything, but uh, yeah, this is like a one and done deal for me. So I've only ever seen it once, aside from now tonight. This will be my second time. Yeah, don't hate it. Definitely don't hate it. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. I don't know. You got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of expressed them throughout. Like I said, they just had some really weird, just scenes that I thought were just like really out of place,
Mm-hmm.
or just weird how they shot it. But besides that, like I do enjoy the movie. There's certain things I didn't like catch the few times I watched it before tonight. But yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, we can go ahead, and I'm speaking off to the side of the mic. That's going to sound weird when I listen back to it. Uh, yeah, we can go ahead and hop into the instant reslay section. Sha sha sha. A portion of the show where we go ahead and we talk about our favorite and least favorite deaths, or most useless deaths, or just whatever we really want to throw into it. Our favorite scenes of the film, or maybe even least favorite. Who knows? We just kind of tack things on there as we go. RJ, how you feeling about it? Let's talk about deaths. Let's talk about murders, kills. Don't get a lot of them
So
on screen here.
yeah, really. So I would say definitely my favorite was the cop that gets, he basically pulls his head through the roof of the cop car and then just takes the battle axe and just chops it off, chucks it at the car in front of him. I mean, you're using literally a battle axe already right there, top notch, bravo, chef's kiss,
I,
all the all the great things right there. Like you're using a battle axe in like modern times. Yeah, you got my attention.
right. I have to agree with you on that one. Of the deaths that we do get in this film on screen or whatever, or off screen, that is the best one, in my opinion. Anytime you
Yes.
bring out a fucking battle axe, I'm on board. Let's
Yeah,
go.
like exactly. You have my attention, sir.
100% agree. least favorite or most useless or most
Um,
unnecessary?
be honest, I don't really think there's like an unnecessary one to be. I guess just like the kind of meh was just in the same scene when the cop just kind of gets thrown out
Right.
of the car and nothing else like really happens. If I had to pick something, I guess I would pick that one.
Yeah, I have a
Because
hard
there really isn't any like anything unnecessary because he's like killing people with a purpose because
right.
he needs whatever like body part or organ or anything from, said person.
Yeah, I every kill that we got was fairly what did he get from the old lady?
I don't think he got anything from the old lady. I think she was just in the way because she was trying to shoot
Trying
him.
to shoot him.
Because, yeah,
She
so
was just a
like,
problem.
obviously like shooting him with the shotgun wasn't gonna kill him, but then if she say takes out an arm or takes out like, any organs or anything like that, he has to
Something else he
then
has to eat.
replace it.
Right.
Exactly. So I think she was just in the way.
Ah, that's fair. I get it, I guess. I wish she wasn't. If I had to pick an unnecessary or one that I wish hadn't happened, it would probably be the old lady because
Mhm.
Shotgun Granny's kind of a badass. Um, and I guess she didn't really get anything taken from her, so it was kind of pointless. uh, favorite scene?
So I know I said earlier like the how they shot the like just before the that kill scene with the cops like where they go back and forth from the cars. Like
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really really cool, but I still think just the opening sequence of the movie of like the truck, just kind of like in the background, and then it's just subtly gets bigger and bigger and bigger till it's like right on their ass, and you got the horn blaring and all that stuff, and just basically total chaos within like the first 5 minutes of the movie from, the opening credits to that point. I thought was like a really, really cool way to open the movie. And then you kind of get the same thing later on when he's down in the tunnel and Trish is supposed to be like looking out for cars, and it's like the same thing, kind of like a callback to like the opening scene of the movie. I thought
Right.
that would probably be my favorite. It's just that opening sequence.
Definitely, I can see that. It was really. Oh, pardon me. Oh, sorry guys, it's been a long day. Uh, yeah, no, I can definitely see that. It's probably one of my favorite ramp ups to a film.
Yeah.
Because it is a very subtle and slow, and then it is suddenly upon you thing. Yeah, I like that. Mine, I'm gonna stick with the basement reveal for the church.
Yeah,
That's still just
that
such a
is up
cool
there
scene.
also. Yeah.
That's such a
I had a
cool
feeling
reveal.
I had a feeling you were picking that, so I didn't want to like,
Right?
we
We
were already picking the same like kill scenes. So I didn't want to pick the same like favorite scene because that is like that is really cool how they did that too.
yeah. We can't pick all the same things.
Exactly. So
There has to be some conflict, damn it. Um, yeah, no, but no, definitely really good. Yeah, I don't have anything else to go off on the film here. Other than it's a good film, go watch it for free. Pirate it. Pirate it.
Yeah, please
Do it.
do not give that man any of your money.
I mean, you can go watch it on Tubi for free. That's pretty cool. I mean, somebody's getting ad revenue, but yeah, whatever. The licenses have already been paid to have them, so it already exists. But yeah, don't give money to Slugman Boy Diddler. Hopefully he something horrible happens to him very soon. That would be cool. That's about all I have on that. I guess we can go ahead and hit socials. Hey, you can find us over on IG Threads and also Blue Sky. and primarily Twitter/X, because that's the one I'm most active on, keeping up on, and don't forget about. At Hobbesy Horror across the board there. You can also find us independently, myself on Twitter/X at HobbsyVT, and on Twitch where we stream occasionally. No ad on that one. That Hobbsy. And RJ, we can find you over on Twitter X, yeah?
Yeah, RJWare89.
Yeah, RJ will get into some sports talk with you if you're interested in sports. He needs people to talk sports with, I think. Sports
I
people
really
need
don't,
that.
but
I thought sports was a community, man. I thought you had to talk to people with sports.
yeah, but there are too many dumb people with dumb takes on sports.
Hey, if you've got dumb takes on sports, you can go ahead and hit RJ up over on his Twitter, or you can email us, hobbsyhorror@gmail.com. If you have any questions, concerns, insults, corrections, if there's anything you want us to cover, anything that you think we might find interesting, and we might want to look into to add to our little beginning sections where we are running out of things to talk about in the beginning sections, go ahead and email us or hit us up on the socials. Either way, whatever, however it goes, thank you so much for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world and wherever you're listening. We appreciate you. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify, whether you like it or not, because rating us 5 stars keeps you safe from the boogeyman. Whoever that may be, definitely not me doing things in your bed. You can also
Could be the creeper.
Could be the creeper, who is B tier, mind you, on the fuckability list so far in my mind. And also subscribe, like, share, do things, Spotify, YouTube, all that shit. Look at the show notes, maybe. I don't know. But until next time, bye. All right, and we're recording post-credits. This is great. This is fun. We're real smart. Hey, guess what we didn't do this week? We didn't pick next week's movie. So we're going to go ahead and do that for you now. RJ, I think it is your turn.
It is my turn because I totally remembered to do this.
Absolutely.
A little peek behind the curtain, kids. So the next movie is actually going to be something neither one of us has seen, but you got on a very good recommendation from a very good source.
Oh.
We are going to do The Odds.
All right.
Next time.
This is fun because I have no idea what that movie is actually about. I don't know who's in it.
Never.
I don't know
never
who
heard
made
of it.
Right?
Exactly.
Not a fucking clue. But
I don't even know which streaming service I could watch this movie on.
Netflix, maybe? I'm gonna have to double check. I forget where he said. Yes. My dear sweet brother from another mother, as it were. Recommended it to me. Apparently, he said it was really good, and I trust him because he hates Star Wars. Anybody who
You trust him because he hates Star Wars?
Yes. Because people who like Star Wars are questionable individuals. And I can say that as an individual who loves Star Wars. But yeah, no, cool. Can't wait. Look forward to it. This will be exciting. Something neither of us have seen. Yeah. Good shit. All right. Well, anyway, we just wanted to pop back and say that. Hey, bye again.